I like the song. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. This is a little strange because normally I'm sitting in this chair and it's a Sunday, and now it's a Monday. Sitting to my right, the co-host of the show, the rust of the show, Mr. Pete Gluszek. How you doing?
Happy New Year.
Pete, don't let these people bust your balls about your hat. Tell them.
Man, we lost an MVP quarterback. Everybody has picked us to lose every single game since that's happened.
That's right.
And here we are playing the next round.
Yes.
One more to go to get to the Super Bowl. Man,
Yes.
I'm loving on the Eagles, man.
I'm loving on
Playing
the Eagles
some good
too.
ball.
And here's the thing: the Eagles have a lot of people supporting them. We have amazing companies supporting the show. Pete Gluszek.
I think we have quite a few great ones.
We do. Let's start with the presenting sponsor of Ike Live, Mystery Tackle Box. It's like Christmas to your door once a month, Pete. Brand new lures, putting them right in your hands without even thinking about it.
I'm very excited. I hope they have me on the list, but they have an elite tackle box
Wow.
coming out.
That's unbelievable. Very excited about that. Listen,
High-end lures.
if you don't have a Mystery Tackle Box and you're watching right now and you want one, use the promo code Ike Live and you get your first box for half off. $12.
Sweet.
50% off your first box.
All right.
Use the promo code Ike Live. We're also brought to you by Flambeau Outdoors. Man, listen, if you got tackle, you don't want that stuff to rust up, check out the Flambeau products. They use Z-Rust, of course. If you go to flambeau.com, use the promo code Ike Live. 20% off everything on the site, Pete, including decoys. You know what I mean?
Is that season still open?
I don't know, but you just put a decoy out in your front yard.
Well, you roll it across the ice right now in our front yard.
That's right. What about this? What about this scent issue, Pete? Tell me about scent.
Well, scent's key. It's going to be key this year. You guys are fishing. The elites are fishing two cold water tournaments.
Two cold water tournaments, key.
And that's going to be a big deal. And right now you can use scent to melt the ice and maybe catch a fish in our house.
Wow.
Around here. I think it works.
That's a good one. Use the promo code IkeLive25 and get 25% off everything on liquidmayhem.com. Pete, we're also brought to you, and this is a little special one tonight. We're also brought to you by Hobie Kayaks. This is, in fact, the kayak special tonight. And, you know, hey, man, Hobie Kayaks is the Lamborghini of kayaks.
They wrote the book. They started this whole thing.
They did. The Lamborghini of kayaks. It's the best way to describe it. And by the way, we have a special guest joining us tonight. I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to tease you a little bit on that. We're also brought to you by TH Marine, makers of great marine products for every kind of vessel. Pete, whether you've got a John boat or a Biggie Small Shot, TH Marine makes something for it, right?
Yeah, they make the best stuff in the business, and we love TH Marine. Do we have a TH Marine thing going on here?
Yeah. TH Marine. If you say Ike Live, they'll give you a deal. You just got to call there and ask them.
Give you a free Atlas jack plate.
They might. Just
call
tell them we sent you. Bash University, Pete. We got some specials going on.
Yeah, we got a lot of specials going on. In particular, if you live in Indiana, we're going to be there this weekend. Next weekend, we're going to be at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Then we're going to be down in Alabama on the banks of Neely Henry down in Gadsden. So get a ticket, come out and see us. If you can't make it, subscribe to bashu.tv, and you get 10 days free going on right now. So give it a try. Come and check it out. We're going to help you become a better angler.
Also brought to you by Real Snot. Pete, you mentioned the freezing cold conditions. Real Snot not only helps you make longer casts, helps get that ice off the guides, bro. Key this time of the year.
Yeah, that's huge.
Very key. Long cast.
And you can get that at Tackle Warehouse.
You can get it at Tackle Warehouse, and we're brought to you by Tackle Warehouse. And listen to this. If you spend more than $50 and you mention Ike Live, you get free shipping.
Outstanding.
Did you know that?
Is that written down there?
That's true.
That's sweet.
It's very true.
Everybody uses Tackle Warehouse. They're the best in the business. They support the Bass University tackle shop. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised they're not retired after selling all the tackle they did over the holidays.
It's crazy. I'm surprised too. Also brought to you by Vision Wheels. If you want to trick out your truck and trailer, check out visionwheel.com. Finally, last but not least, Pete, a brand new sponsor of Ike Live in 2017-2018, Line Cutters.
Yes.
Line Cutters with us. Did you see that post from Damon? Very cool. We're going to be talking a little bit about that later. Dave, did you see that? Yeah. Okay. We're talking about it later. Line Cutters, big, changing the game, cuts line like butter, even 100, 200, 500-pound braid like butter.
I can't wait to see that post. I didn't see that post.
Yeah, you flip with 500-pound braid, don't you?
Yeah, on occasion, when I'm doing the Goliath grouper thing.
Yes. We'll talk a little bit about Damon's shout-out. Listen to me. Hang in there with us. When we come back in just a minute, we've got a very special kayak show for you. Lots of guests, lots of prizes. You don't want to miss it. Come on, let's go.
Warning! The following live webcast might contain content that some people find crude, vulgar, or objectionable. When watching this program, please make sure the room is well lit and do not sit too close to the screen. If you're uptight, easily offended, or lacking a sense of humor, please stop watching right now and leave the internet. Now it's time for Hike Live.
What is this foolishness? How many dreams can you shape in a minute, an hour?
The kind of clean you like best.
Lost 3 of my teeth, too. All right, so you lost. Next time you'll win.
Steamy, hot, hearty, delicious, invigorating.
Folks at home, how you doing tonight? Hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. I know I am. Very excited to be here. Mr. Pete Gluszek, co-host of the show. How you doing tonight, Pete?
Man, great. We're into the new year. I'm excited. Got some New Year resolutions. We're ready to go.
I want to hear about some of yours, but let me tell you, first of all, we have a special show tonight. Normally, we have just normal shows. Tonight's a special show tonight. We're doing a kayak special episode. I'm so excited to talk about this stuff.
What? I mean, it's key. It's changing the face of fishing right now with what's going on. It's making fishing accessible to people that didn't have it. And there's so much new technology going on. Watch these guys rig out their kayaks. It's insane.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. And it's cool. Growing the entire sport of fishing, which I love. Let me finish introing the room for you. Sitting on the casting couch tonight, to my left, the one and only Dave Brodzik, a.k.a. The Braz, a.k.a. Fathead, a.k.a. Wharf, a.k.a. Hudley Crockett. How you doing?
Diversified portfolio.
Dude! And you keep the hits coming with a few more. Are you going to surprise us with any new characters tonight?
Now, I've had this cough that the rest of the country has. I've had it for months.
Wow. You can't shake it.
I don't know. I should have come up with a voice that fits the cough.
You should have. Yeah.
But
now, do the other character voices, are they affected by the cold that you have?
They'll just be them sick.
It'd be Stormtrooper sick.
Yeah, Mark Jeffries with a cold.
Right, and this is a great time to intro him because I can see him, as you're saying you're sick, I can see him sliding over. I watched him slide over a little bit. Join us tonight, and this is great to have him live in studio, from Hobie Kayaks. Keeton Eoff is in the house tonight. Keeton,
I'll get my hand up. Give
yourself a hand, dude. Thank you for coming in. We've tried to set this up for a long time. We finally wrangled you in the studio, so thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you, and thanks for the nice banner at the airport.
You're welcome.
When I got here,
you're welcome.
You guys went over the top.
We don't spare any expense.
So,
normally, guests we don't like, we send Brian the carpenter to go pick them up.
Yeah.
But
he offered, but I knew better.
Right.
Yeah.
You know better than to let him pick you up. Excited to have you on. We're going to be talking kayak fishing all night. It's going to be a good show. Back in the booth tonight, Pete, pushing buttons, making plays, making it happen. They were cheering a little bit ago because they were cheering. You'd think like they won the lottery, but they actually just got the show to work, which is kind of exciting.
Found the on button.
Right, they found the on button. They've been working back there for 5 years on the show, and they found the on button. With the orange hat, because he was hunting earlier, Brian the Carpenter, how you doing tonight? Giving me the thumbs down. Brian's happy tonight because I gave him a package. I brought it all the way from the show in Kokomo.
Yeah.
Flew all those miles with this amazing package of jigs and crankbaits, and I gave it to him tonight, and he was a little upset by the delivery of the package. Brian, you want to talk about that? Guess not. All right, Brian. Nobody can hear you. No, they're all dead back there.
There was.
Oh, wait, no. Wait, I can't hear Brian, but I think I hear something coming through. Shh. What is that?
Where was the weed?
Was that Brian's ghost coming through? That's unbelievable. All right, and sitting, he just shut the image off. Sitting next to Brian, you have to visualize this, Pete. You're gonna have to visualize it because there's sound back there right now. Eric, the intern, is back there joining us. Give us an Eric the intern voice, real quick.
Hey, everybody! Remember to dial into my show, and thank you.
Eric, we understand you're joining the Chicken Rippin' Lips.
Yeah, correct. I'm gonna be the
Chicken Lips.
I'm gonna be the
Rippin'. No, what is it? Chicken Rippin' Lips. Chicks Rippin' Lips.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the treasurer, and I'm gonna give couch dances.
Well, congratulations, Eric, on joining an all-female fishing club.
Thank you.
It's very impressive. We got a great show for you in store tonight. Let me remind you, if you're watching, Pete, their input is very key to tonight's show. Lots of ways to connect with the show. Of course, on IkeLive.com. Hit us up on the instant messaging right next to your screen, sitting over there. You can also watch us on the Ike Live Facebook page and comment over there. But, Pete, we're going to be giving away, we got 3 or 4 nice prizes tonight. We've got some trivia questions lined up tonight for these guys.
Awesome.
So they need to hang in through all the different we got about 3 breaks in the show. Need to hang in there with us.
Awesome.
It's going to be good. Let's do this. Let's start the show like we always do, and we want to send a big thank you to our military, active and veterans, men and women. Thank you for what you do. It's a crazy world. Also, thank you to the police, firemen, EMT. Thank you guys for what you do.
Did you hear that ballistic missile warning on the way over here today?
No, was there one for Pittsgrove? I know there's one for Hawaii.
I think there was one for Pittsgrove.
How messed up is that? How easy it is.
Oh, yeah.
Just sending out this mass panic of pending doom.
Yeah. Dude, well, what's interesting is Washington Post had an article where they interviewed this family that, I looked at it from afar and I'm like, oh, big deal. It was just a little warning, lasted a couple minutes or whatever. But, dude, they were fear-stricken for 5 or 10 minutes that it lasted.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, Hawaii has basically like an emergency broadcast system for incoming missile attacks.
Warning detection system.
Like an early warning grid detection thing, and someone accidentally pushed the on button to that.
Crazy.
How come that on button works and our on button never?
I don't know.
It seemed weird. I heard a report, and it was like they double-clicked something that was... How could it be that particular?
They accidentally clicked it twice.
Yeah, one click is safe. 2 clicks is like we're all gonna die.
Yeah. Whoever designed that should be fired to design the 1 and 2 click system.
Microsoft popped up a little thing that said, "Are you sure you want to click?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. An accident.
Are you sure?
But it is kind of horrific because I read this article on this lady with a child and pets, and her husband wasn't home. Dude, she went through, and I gauged in the article they were a little bit of preppers because she knew what to do though. So put her kid in the bathroom, went looking for a dog, started getting the reserve water, started filling the bathtub, like all these things you do when there's the threat of nuclear war and nuclear fallout. It's crazy. I mean, she's shitting herself.
The whole island was doing it, man, and it went on for 38 minutes.
Yeah, but there's people still alive that live on that island. Not many that lived through
That's true.
Through an attack.
That's true.
It happened in their lifetime. They lived through an actual real attack on that island.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine being out there. Who was it out there? Jim Carrey was in Hawaii.
Wow.
I saw an article that where he was like, this is out of control because he, along with everybody else, thought that missiles were coming. Man, I can't imagine what that's like. And honestly, I think about that from where we live because we live in a target zone, man.
Oh yeah, bullseye.
We got New York City on one side, Washington D.C. on the other, and Philadelphia in between.
Bullseye.
If they're sending a missile, it's coming our way.
But what people don't understand is North Korea does not have rapid fire. Like everything they have, the type of propellant that they use takes a long time to get based up and get going. it wouldn't be like as if one of the more advanced countries launched an attack.
Right.
We would have ample notice that they have stuff coming up off the ground. It wouldn't be
not good.
as quick and as catastrophic as you might think.
It's a wake-up call that we're all thinking about it and talking about it now. We'll see what transpires here.
It's a big wake-up call. Let me also mention, Pete, besides Keeton in studio tonight, we do have a couple more guests joining us. We've got Ron Champion, friend of the show. The champ, joining us again with his, I believe his son's going to make a little appearance too. Branton will be joining us tonight. Talk a little bit about kayak fishing. We also have Mr. Kayak himself, Chris Payne, joining us tonight to enlighten us on the subject of kayak fishing a little bit. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I'd like to. You want to talk a little bit, Pete, real quick? We'll do a little catch up. Bash University this past weekend, big success. You want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little bit about it. I mean, we were at Kokomo, Indiana, which is one of our favorite places that we go. It's outside of Chicago. It's in between Chicago and Indianapolis.
Right.
It's amazing how many bass heads there are in
Tons
that
of
part
bass
of the
heads.
country.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got more high school clubs than probably Texas, believe it or not. It's crazy how, they're just fanatical, and Texas is huge. I think most of the subscribers for Bass University TV are in Texas for us. So, but clearly, it was a great show. Zona was down. You were there on Saturday.
Yes.
We had Bill Lowen and John Cruz on Sunday. Just tremendous enthusiasm and feedback from the students and the instructors. So, yeah, it was a great event. We'll be back in Kokomo again next year. We really enjoyed being there this year. And here we go. We got another one next weekend.
It's the start of it all. I actually flew in from Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about the weather shock that I had. When I left Austin, I think we had a 70-degree high that day, and little cooler at night. And then I got off the plane in Indy, and it was like 20 with snow flurries.
That's a shocker.
Shock.
Yeah,
Big shock.
You know what else is a shocker? It's very unusual looking bass that you were catching when you were down in Austin.
That's right. There were some. I had a 48-pound smallmouth. I know that sounds big to a lot of people watching, but it was a smallmouth buffalo, Pete, which is not a bass, but it was awesome. And I'm going to take this time right now, Dave, Keeton, Pete, if you want to just straighten up a little bit. This is a real big moment for me. I want to take this time to make an announcement about why I was in Austin. And I'm going to make this announcement about the announcement for the big announcement that I will make. And it's looking like the announcement about this really amazing, game-changing, for me, life-changing announcement will indeed come sometime in the summertime, Dave.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
As we've been promoting this announcement for like months that it was going to be today.
I know. I wanted it to be today.
Well, it is, I guess.
It is today. I can tell you this much. I will throw some little cheese at people. Not the whole bun, but a little cheese. And I'm working on a new TV project. I'm very excited about it. Dave, it follows an old show that I did, sort of the same premise of an old show I did. I'm getting to travel across the country and the world. I'm getting to go to some international locations and fish for a lot of different species of fish. And I love that. I love that. Keeton, we're going to talk later. You come from the bass world. You're a freshwater guy, but you've been exposed to other species. There's something about fishing for, like, fish that pull back regardless of if they're bass or not, right?
Always,
right?
As long as they're not carp.
As long as they're not carp,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, as long and
right.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I respect it. I saw a big blue cat as well.
Big blue cat, yeah.
And that was nice, but not a lot of us Southerners fish for carp.
Yeah, why is that? Because you've seen the other side of it. You've seen the European guys, and we were talking upstairs off camera that these carp guys, Pete, they treat the fish like human babies.
Yes.
That's the best way I can describe it.
Wow.
That's such precious, it's this precious, beautiful creature. You've seen it. What is it about that? Why?
I think we can throw some kudos to our current fisheries management in the United States, especially. We have a great team in Texas. Our Texas Parks and Wildlife are always working to produce us great game fish.
Yeah.
And probably over in Europe, some of those other countries just didn't develop that way with those kind of good resources.
Yeah.
And so the carp in a lot of waters thrive.
Right.
Whereas a lot of game fish don't. And
right.
so Maybe it's pollution. Maybe it's just the type of water they have. But the Europeans love carp fishing, and I've got a few American buddies that love carp fishing as well.
It's a powerful animal.
When they get 30, 40, 50 pounds, it's on that light tackle that most of those guys fish.
Yeah, and boilies.
I caught it on a boilie.
There you go.
I caught it on a boilie with a piece of pop-up corn behind it.
Okay.
What's a boilie?
On a hair rig. So boilie is basically like a dough ball. Best way to describe dough ball, but they sort of concoct it. They all have these different formulas, which is interesting. They all have a secret. They all have a scent. And boilies, basically just like a dough ball, sort of. And I caught it on a boilie, and then behind the boilie was a piece of corn, but not real corn, fake corn that's high buoyancy that makes the boilie stand up off the bottom and be seen by the fish.
Wow.
So it's a system. It's crazy.
What's considered a world-class carp?
I'm going to just off the limited experience I've had with fishing with some of the guys here in Philadelphia and then now down in Austin, I would say when that fish gets 30, 40 pounds or bigger, then it starts becoming a world-class fish. Okay. Like the 60s and 70s are definitely out there and they're obtainable. And then I follow a lot of these guys on Instagram and Facebook. And, dude, I swear to you, these guys are holding ones that are like in the 70 range because it's all gut. They're holding this thing, and these guts are just straight down, and you're like, holy hell. But, dude, it doesn't happen fast. The one thing is you have to have a tremendous amount of patience. You probably know this, Keaton, but a lot of those guys in Europe will camp. Like, literally throw lines out. They'll have 6 to 12 rods out with alarms, and they'll just sit back and wait. They'll do a little baiting. They'll do bait changes. They're still, interactive.
It's highly technical.
It's highly technical.
And their gear is very expensive.
Yes.
Highly technical.
Highly technical, but they'll go 2-3 days sometimes without a bite until they get that bite.
But what do they feed on to get that kind of mass?
So a lot of it. So again, this is a learning process. Carp and then smallmouth buffalo, which aren't technically carp. We'll talk about that in a second. Are bottom feeders. Like catfish. So they're down there and they're inhaling, just constantly sucking in and sucking out to feed off the bottom. But what a lot of these guys do is they bait the holes, right? So they're spending a tremendous amount of time. And I don't just mean like days leading up to when they fish. Yeah. I mean months and months and months creating a feeding spot for these fish. So they're actually making the fish bigger themselves by feeding them up. And it's crazy. And they'll use like meal. It's almost like cornmeal. It's like grits and oats, and they'll bait these spots. So you can imagine, dude, these carp are just down there like, oh, we're in heaven. They're just eating.
Food rain down.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the one I caught, it was 48 on the scale, and it had 48 on the scale, and it had clearly been eating that stuff for a day. He's to be that gutted out and it not be eggs. Yeah. That fish has been eating for days, so.
That's still huge.
Well,
how long does it take to catch a 48-pound carp?
Yeah, it was interesting because it took less time than I thought it was going to be forever and ever. I caught a 30 in the fall on the Delaware River, and it took probably 25 to 30 minutes. And this 48 probably took 18 to 20 minutes.
That's still a long time.
Long time.
A lot can go wrong.
A lot can go wrong, but really long rod, 12 to 14-foot spinning rods that are really soft. So the fight is really the fish absorbing that rod the whole time. Braided line, and really, really loose drag too. So, you let the fish do its thing, and but the hooks they're using are drop shot hooks.
That's nuts.
They're number 8s.
Is it like a bass does? Like does a carp dig for cover? Does he try to get you in trouble?
It's the common carp that I caught here back a couple months ago had way more quick surges where it would zzz. The 48-pound smallmouth buffalo was definitely like slower digging with a few of those runs, but just more slow digging to where he would just put his back into it and like just slow and steady, not those quick runs, you know? That's still amazing though. Dude, think about it. Here's the way I'll explain it.
Because he couldn't move that good because he was full on all that bait.
Well, that's probably what it was. But, look at 50-pound fish in general, right? Saltwater species. There are people spending thousands of dollars to take exotic trips, right?
Yep.
To catch 50-pound class game fish, saltwater fish. And wow, was that me? And you know, with is that Brian's ghost?
Is that Brian's ghost?
Is that Brian's ghost? Can it be Brian's ghost?
It's the real ghost, probably.
It is.
They
They
tell you not to play around. They tell you not to play around with
It's like the Ouija board, right?
Yeah,
you open it and they're going to come.
They tell you not to play around.
Well, what was I saying? Oh, getting back to my thought real quick, and we'll go on. You can do this stuff right where you're at.
Right.
Everybody watching tonight.
Every state in the nation.
Every state, city, rural, suburb, you can do it right where you're at.
That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome,
that
right?
It really is.
And
yeah.
that does tie into, we're going to talk, Keaton, a little later about accessibility to stuff. And it falls into that. It makes it easy for people to get involved in the sport,
And then right
which I love.
afterward, you can slit your wrists.
Then you can slit your wrist, right? After 5 days of not getting a bite, you can slit your wrist. I would like. I know this is a little premature, but I want to throw it out there, Keaton. What % of kayak guys, or more specifically, Hobie kayak guys, are bass fishermen versus multi-species fishermen? You have an idea what that percentage is?
Great question. I don't have the percentage.
Okay.
However, I can tell you that bass fishing is what's growing. So especially with kayak fishing, and I think you had historically with the professional bass tournaments, boat motor tournaments were so established within the inland areas that kayak fishing really started on the coast. It was about accessibility. I mean, look at the coastline we have.
Right. So it started as it was a saltwater thing.
Really, especially for Hobie, but in general started as a coastal sport, really.
Right.
And I think it's just because there were those years of ingrained, fishing styles, competitions. There was a lot of bass fishing going on within the sport, and on the coast there wasn't that tradition built up yet. So you had accessibility. We also for Hobie, surf and sail, right?
Right.
So a lot of our stores, our retailers were on the coast. Our companies, Oceanside, California, right?
Yeah.
10 miles away from the coast. So launched pretty much coastal, really got established coastal, and then the light bulb went off. And a lot of that came with, what us and other companies have started doing is the great thing about rotomolded kayaks is you mold those things and design them with features already in the kayak.
Right.
And you look back 7-8 years ago, really the accessories market started picking up. Other companies started making products to fit kayaks.
Yeah.
And it just grew and grew and grew. And now you can sit there and, have a power pole stakeout pole on your kayak.
It's crazy.
You got your Lance fish finder. You've got all your accessories ready to roll, and you hit the water. And so all that is come to a point where bass fishing is really, really growing in kayak fishing. And it's where a lot of growth is going to come from.
Yeah, and in fact, it's Pete. We've heard the stat at ICAST last year and the year before from the ICAST folks. They're saying it's the fastest growing segment of bass fishing right now is kayak fishing. That's incredible. That's incredible.
I mean, I got to say, I think it's awesome, and congratulations on what you guys are doing and making it accessible, making fishing accessible to people that. That never had that chance before. We've been taught since the beginning that not taught really, but exposed. We got to have a $70,000 bass boat and a $70,000 truck to tow it with, or a $250,000 truck like Mike just got, and to be able to go fishing.
That's not true. That's not.
It's pretty awesome Toyota, by the way. So that's what you're doing, and guys coming out of college, coming out of or high school. Right? Man, you're not jumping into that. It takes years to be able to amass that kind of income, and in Brian's case, like 30 or 40 years, But
Brian, do you have a mic that you can defend yourself now?
Can we title that Pete Fires Back? Or
wow.
Pete Strikes Back.
He assumed your mic wasn't working, so that's the reason he went out on a limb there.
We're going to call that Pete Throws a
But no, congratulations. You're bringing the fishing to the masses. I think it's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah. I tell you what's cool, Keaton. We talk about all the time about Brian and Dave and I grew up together, real young. And when we were, I guess, in high school, we finally had enough money to buy a John boat. We were buying a Coleman crawdad was big around here, but
I've got one. Still.
Yes,
yeah, great boat.
But it was like the early predecessor to what this kayak movement has become.
It
It's
really is.
polyurethane. We were taking it ourselves and decking it out with 1/2-inch plywood.
Yeah.
And it was seriously, it was an early version to what you see this kayak world exploding. So we knew back then we were just too old to be on this trend. You know what I mean? Because I don't remember freshwater kayak fishing back then wasn't even on the map at all. And I'm talking about the early 80s.
But think about belly boats.
Belly boats,
yes, right?
They were around.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And so there were a lot of clubs fishing out of belly boats and tubes.
That's right.
Yeah.
The only problem is you were committed, right? I mean, you couldn't really move very fast,
right?
And so now with kayaks moving, and especially with Mirage Drive, you've got hands-free ability now.
Yeah.
And you can stand up in your kayak, and so if you look at just the progression of the platform,
right,
and in line with what you were talking about with boat motors, traditional boats getting the entry levels just gotten pretty high, and so you can go in for what, a $70,000 bass boat. You can enter the kayak market in a really good one now, $1,500, $2,000, and
it's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Huge.
That's huge.
That's huge for the sport and for the kids, and parents. Like, you think about it, even a middle-aged man that's got 3 kids and a mortgage, and he's stuck. He's paying his bills, and you can get him out on the water now.
Yeah, and then one thing that we probably don't see, you guys, at least Mike lives in a somewhat of a more rural area. You got room to put a boat.
Right.
So I come from an area like that where you have room. A lot of places are getting your lifestyle smaller and smaller.
Yes.
And so you don't have room for the big boat anymore.
Yeah.
And so now we've got products. We've got inflatables. Great inflatable products that you can stick in a closet and still get out and fish. So just giving people the opportunity to take a product that's going to fit their need, and you can go back and have access to a lot of water.
I had both those problems. So I had the $70,000 boat. I had a place where I couldn't put it. And you could easily put a kayak, like, as a single guy, you could have that kayak right in your living room, right in the second room of the apartment or whatever. And the ability to access water that you can't access with the bigger boats.
Yeah. No, that I love too.
The intimate, quiet places that you just can't have when you got power equipment.
And I miss that. Yeah. I miss that, doing what I'm doing, with my Bass Cat, and I love the tournament. I love that stuff, but I do miss it. Like when I got started, because I started in a canoe. But a canoe is, we capsized it more. but that we capsized. We had trouble. They were not set up for fishing. But the part that I loved about it was that exact thing, man. We could car top it. We could go fish places that others couldn't. It was quiet. You know what I mean? You got to get back to nature. That was the awesome part about it.
And it was easy. It was easy. It wasn't, like launching a boat in a place can be an ordeal, right? Mm-hmm. It could be a freaking ordeal. Putting a kayak in is easy. Yep. It's easy. It's light. You just lift it and go, right?
Down where my mom lives in Florida, like, I almost want to just live there with a kayak just to fish all those lakes that are off 95, a few miles either way.
Off the beaten path lakes.
Nobody fishes them.
Giants.
No, but next to all the dumps on 95, all of them have lakes. There's never, ever a boat on there, man.
Just gators.
Who cares, dude? But like, just for that reason alone, to get out and just fish places that no one else is. There's like that whole sneaking on private property feel you have. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah, you got this place to yourself.
What does that feel like?
Feels pretty awesome.
Breaking the law.
Yeah, breaking the law. Now, that feeling of being the only one alive that's ever fished a place, that's a cool feeling. Yep. And it's rare that you get that in a full-size bass boat anymore. Really is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very rare that you get that feeling.
Yeah, and that brings you the accessibility part of it, which I love. And like I said, we teach so many high school and college kids, and man, they're trying to get into that bass boat, but it ain't happening, And not everybody's a Matt and Jordan Lee where they can rock out with a fully rigged boat,
right?
Right away out of college. They're very fortunate to do that, but the other guys, I mean, they can get right into it. They can keep their passion going. Keep their fishing going.
Keep fishing while you're waiting.
While you're working, while you're saving, while you're building your skill set. You're learning.
But there's
having fun with it.
There's also lessons in planning for tournaments when you fish in these smaller boats. So like Mike said, we came up fishing in crawdads. You couldn't bring everything that you could bring.
Yeah.
You bring a little bit less in these kayaks,
Mm-hmm.
and it forces you to actually plan a lot differently. And I think that actually transfers over to when you do get a bigger boat, that you're not inundated with a bunch of crap.
Right.
That you have a singular focus on what actually works for you, and you don't have to
basics,
fill
yeah.
every single damn basin full of boxes.
See, I missed that lesson. I have every basin filled with a bunch of nonsense.
Every basin.
That's the way I fish. But Morgan Prominence, I hope he's listening. Morgan carries about 70 pounds of gear
Dude,
in his kayak.
Really?
Oh yeah, you go grab his egg crate out of the back. You're like,
dude, it was insane.
Yeah,
when we fished together, he showed up with more stuff than I've ever had in my kayak ever.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. And I mean the rods too.
Oh yeah.
Like, for me, like, 1 or 2 or 3 is a comfortable amount. Dude, Morgan had like 10 rods or something. I don't know. They were in every hole in the back, all around the H crate, coming off the sides. Dude, it looked like those crappie boats that have the spider rigs coming out the back. You know what I mean?
That'd be me. I know it. I know it.
It was crazy. I want to hear it. Keeton, tell us a little bit about. I've heard other people. I've heard Dave. I know Dave's experience. I know mine. Tell us about your first experience fishing in a kayak. And it didn't even have to be a Hobie. Your first experience fishing in a kayak.
Yeah, interesting. Prior to kayak, it was a crawdad. Still have one.
Yeah.
And fishing the Llano River in a small boat. I fished in belly boats. I fished on top of a big thing of styrofoam that flooded out from under a dock and was about the size of this couch. We floated down the river fishing on that thing one time.
Oh my God!
So, but my first kayak experience was a Hobie, and it was years before. I wasn't even aware of Hobie. I was still we were kind of probably in the beginning stages of some of the Sebile stuff.
Yep.
And I was down at Shoalgrass Lodge down in Texas. My buddy Dave Maynard showed up with 2 kayaks, and they were Hobies.
Yeah.
So we put them in the water and went fishing. Didn't think twice about it.
Huh.
And 5 or 6 years later, here I am.
How about that?
So
did you know that first time that it was something special, something that you loved?
Yeah, you know what? It was different.
Right.
Something completely different. But in there we were, maybe a quarter mile from the flats, and so this was saltwater, and so we just, out the channel, on the flats, and then that night we fished the lights.
Yeah.
A lot of trout fishing under the lights at night, and so really it was just a great trip, and fun experience, and it was kind of I was fishing pretty much anywhere and everywhere I could at the time.
Yeah.
So that was that experience that I had. It was great, and then on back to my big old piece of styrofoam, because one thing with the Hobie is the entry level it's a little high for kayaks. I mean, we know we make a great product.
Yeah.
We've got a Mirage Drive. It's totally different, but that adds some expense to the kayak, and at that time it wasn't in my entry level.
Right.
And so it took a few years before I was ready to commit that level of resources, but it never fails that once you have the experience, it's amazing how you can start working towards that level of resources.
Get
you what you want.
Focused.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing, and I think that I've seen in my tenure, is all the accessories that make it easier.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all, like that kayak that Morgan carries 70 pounds of gear in, that's a 135-pound kayak. It's 14 feet long. But now we have accessories that make them easy to load. We have accessories to roll them out of the water. You have accessories to make it all easy and functional.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about that I've seen in the last 7 years, is the industry coming in to, like, if there was a problem, there's someone there to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's been the greatest thing, just making these things more and more accessible.
It's awesome. I mean, they're getting more and tricked out. Last year going Ike, lucky to have you guys trick mine out for me with all the accessories, and then to see Morgan's with the bait well in the back and all the ram mounts and the depth finders, and that's crazy, Pete. I mean, it's like all the features of your $70,000 boat in that little kayak.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The tournaments are crazy too. I mean, the participation in the bass fishing kayak tournaments is what it used to be in the heyday of bass in the 80s, right? Which I think was kind of when bass fishing hit the world scene. You'd see these mega tournaments everywhere around the country. We'd have 200 boat tournaments around here, always over 100, big events. Now you have kayak derbies where it's like 600 boats, 800 boats. It's out of control.
Yeah, freshwater and saltwater.
Is that right?
Yeah. You've got. There's a real large one down in Louisiana. It is called. Come on, Louisiana guys, answer this one for me. Ride the Bull.
Ride the Bull.
Yeah,
okay.
it's benefit tournament. It's really, really good. But you got 700 or 800 people fishing that one.
Yep.
Then you've got bass tournaments growing and growing and growing.
Yep.
Getting pretty large. So yeah, it's I think what you're pointing, what's growing that is community. And that's something we kind of left off, because that's a great thing about the sport of kayak fishing.
Yeah.
Is you can go and fish by yourself in the secluded water, and especially even in a tournament, you get away, go fish, but you always come back to that community.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about our tournaments. And a lot of them are focused on the community, the event. Everyone's connected socially before and after, and you just that group of kayak fishermen, I will say, is one of the best communities I have ever been associated with.
I would agree.
And it's just absolutely fantastic.
I experienced them hands-on. They are really good guys, very helpful. Everyone goes out of their way to help you a lot more than they do on the boat
and
side.
that's where I think they're making a mistake. They haven't learned lies and deceit that every fisherman needs to have in his repertoire. I watch the kayak guys do that. It's like they treat it so differently. They're like, hey man, we were using jerk baits over on that bluff bank over there, like given the pattern, the spot, so that they can help the competition, help get them along. So different from what bass is like,
It's more tranquil and it's less stressful.
Yeah.
Why else? What are they different? They get a kayak, they become a different person?
Yep.
It's still the same guys. They'd be the same jerk-offs if they were in a boat with a 250 on the back of it. But they're in this peaceful machine, and they're this high off the water.
It changes,
and
right?
they're this high off the water. Man.
It's less stressful until weigh-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, until final day of the tournament, you're in the top 5. It's pretty high stress, pretty intense.
Is that right?
So, oh yeah.
Those guys go nuts. Did they go Ike on stage? They lose it?
Yeah, they go Ike on stage.
Attaboy.
So, yeah, he's trained them well.
All right, listen to me. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We are going to take a small break. Keeton, when we come back, I want to corner you on your life before Hobie Kayaks. I want to know a little bit about that. I want to hear some Sabile stories from you as well. When we come back, we're going to continue the show. Hang in there with us. We're going to get some of these audio issues fixed. We have a little low audio right now. We're going Yeah, if we go dark, hang in there with us. We're going to fix this audio.
My earphones, they're not low audio.
No, they're high as hell. When we come back, more Ike Live and lots of great prizes coming up. Hang in there with us.
Hey, Noah Wheeler here with Real Snot. Been out on this pond for about an hour now. We would try the new Java product on this frog on the top water. It works great on jigs and other plastics, but we've noticed that when we do use it on top water, we get a trail in the water, the scent's in the water, and we're getting a lot more bites. So we're going to spray some Java all over the frog. Apply from Real Snot to the braid, get it nice and wet, and then as I reel it in, it's going to work its way through it. Okay, so now we got that scent in the water, and then we got the frog all juiced up with some Real Snot Java. Let's see what happens here. There's one. There's one. So as you can see, that scent got around in this little area, this little pocket we're fishing, and sure enough, one came up and nailed it. Small one, albeit, but hadn't caught anything since we've been here for about an hour and 10 minutes now. There's one. That's a good one too. That's a good one. Much better. Good little guy. Threw my frog. Man, they love this stuff. Right through the nose.
4.5-inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today.
Boom.